Hello everybody! For this video, I will be teaching you how to make these cute and super cozy gloves perfect for winter. So this size is perfect for 10 years old and older. If you're gonna use a thinner yarn such as Hobby Lobby's Baby Bee Cuddly one, the gloves will likely have different measurements than the one that I'm gonna show you in this tutorial. Now, if you're gonna use the recommended yarn, the finished size will be 9 inches long and 6 inches wide. If you're gonna use a thinner yarn, the finished size will be 8 inches long and 5 inches wide. For the materials, first you will need around 28 yards of Jumbo 7 Chunky Chenille yarn. This is my own brand of yarn. It's called Chunky Knit Corner Jumbo 7 Chunky Chenille yarn. And for this video, I am using ivory color. But of course, you can choose whichever color of Jumbo 7 Chunky Chenille yarn you want for your gloves. You will also need scissors and lighter. Now, once you have all the materials ready, let's jump right into it. Start off by leaving around 4-inch tail, then create a slip knot. Cross your working yarn over to the left. Insert your fingers through the loop, grab your working yarn and pull it through. Now you just created your first chain. For the foundation chain, you will need a total of 10 chains. So insert your fingers through your first chain, grab your working yarn and pull it through. Now you have 2 chains. Continue creating your chains until you have a total of 10 chains. Next is turn your foundation chain into a circle. Then, for row 1, we are going to knit through each of the top loops of the foundation chain right here. Here are the top loops of the foundation chain. We're going to knit through all of them all the way around, okay? So first, insert your finger through your first top loop, grab your working yarn and pull it through. Make each loop a size of your 2 fingers. So once you already knitted through the first top loop, it will automatically connect your foundation chain. Do not count this one as a loop because this is your 10th chain. Okay? So you already have your first loop for row 1. Now continue knitting through the rest of the top loops until you have a total of 10 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, for row 2 to row 4, we are going to knit 10 for each row. That's 1. So this is optional, but if you have this sewing marker, you can mark your first loop of each row. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, after row 2, fold your project in half. just like that. So this is my last loop and this is my first loop, and I'm just gonna fold it right there. This is to avoid big gaps in between our stitches. And now I'm just gonna continue knitting for row 3 and row 4. All right. For row 5, first we're gonna increase. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull a loop through the stitch right here in between your recent loop and the loop next to it. Right here, we're gonna pull a loop through the stitch right here. Just like that, and I'm gonna mark it as my first loop for row 5. Then knit through each of the next 10 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, let's count our loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. For row 6 to row 10, we are going to knit 11 for each row. For row 11, we are going to knit through each of the first 4 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then skip the next 4 loops. Then knit through each of the next 3 loops. 1, 2, 3. So for row 11, you created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 loops because we skipped these 4 loops right here. Okay? Now for row 12 to row 16, knit 7 for each row. Now, leave around 6-inch tail, then cut your yarn. Next, we're going to close this up. Insert the tail through all 7 loops from inside to outside. Then, gently pull your yarn through until you fully close the gap. Go through some of the loops one more time to secure. Then, tie the tail to some of the stitches. Then we're just gonna leave it like this for now. Now, grab your ivory yarn, then leave around 5-inch tail. Then, knit through each of the 4 loops right here that we skipped earlier for 3 rows. Then, leave around 5-inch tail, then cut your yarn. Now we're going to close this up. Insert the tail through each of the 4 loops from inside to outside. Then, gently pull your yarn through until you fully close the gap. Go through some of the loops one more time to secure. Now, tie the tail to some of the stitches. And we're just gonna leave it like this for now. Now, this tail right here, we're just gonna insert it through the stitches right here until we close the gap in between the stitches right here, okay? So I'm gonna weave in the tail through the stitch here, and I'm gonna weave it in through the stitches here, and now it's closed. Tie this tail to some of the stitches, then leave it like this for now, okay? Next, this tail right here from the foundation chain, what we're gonna do is we're gonna insert it through the stitch right here. This is actually the bottom loop of the first chain from the foundation chain. I'm gonna weave it in like that until they look more connected to each other. So just like that, nothing crazy. Then leave around 1/2 inch tail, then cut your yarn. Next, grab your lighter, and we are going to burn this plastic string right here in the middle of the yarn, right here, the center. We're gonna burn it until that string is melted. Just like that. And then we are going to attach it to some of the stitches right here. And I'm just gonna kind of like I'm pressing it onto the stitch where I attached it, and now you can feel that knot, and that is actually the string that we melted. So now it's good. Do the same thing to the other 3 tails. You can either do this, or you can just cut your yarn and sew it through some of the stitches here, but for as long as you don't melt the string like for too long, the knot will not bother you. It's almost like you can't feel it. Just like that. Just be careful. I actually have this right here is from Amazon, and this is what I wear when I'm making a lot of plushies and when I'm doing a lot of burn method. This protects your finger from getting burned. Also, since I'm making a lot of plushies, these protectors truly help my fingers from getting hurt. Use it like that. I'm gonna do the same thing for the other tails. And you're just gonna follow the same steps for the other piece.